Guys ready? We'll start. I'd like to call to order the Public Safety and Equity Advisory Committee meeting for March 5th, 2026. First, I'll do roll call. Shelby Stephenson, I am here. Victoria Rizzo.
Here.
Rich Allen.
Here.
Kelly Wesson, she sent me something that she wasn't going to do, so she tried to, but not. Frank Stevens.
Here.
Twyla Harrington.
Here.
Mary Howell. Here. Sherry Winters.
Here.
And let's see, Nick Bohr.
Here.
Weston. Okay, so let's stand for this Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll open up public comment on non-agenda items. Anybody online wishing to speak, go ahead, unmute and state your name.
Shelby, it's Paul Wilcox, Troutdale.
Paul?
Okay. Got a couple requests and one question for Nick. I'll save the question for last so we don't forget it. The requests are down on 2nd Street by the Highland food cart pods. When the evening commute is going on, the cars coming south on Buxton, they don't stop for pedestrians at 2nd. I had to wait for I think I waited until the light changed on 257th before I could even get across. So maybe some special attention, or maybe park the ghost car there once in a while in the evening. The other one is, I was wondering if the group there could maybe write up an article for a future champion. It's probably too late for the April edition, but something about kids on motorized vehicles in the neighborhoods. We've got kids riding down the middle of the street on motorbikes, electric scooters on the sidewalk, doubling up on e-bikes, that sort of thing. The rules for minors with electric or motorized vehicles, something to that effect. The question for Nick is, if you've noticed on Stark eastbound at 257th, the left turn lane, the last 3 times I've been there, they seem to have eliminated the flashing yellow turn signal. Is that correct? Seems to go to green immediately. That's all I have for now. Thanks.
I'm not aware of it. I haven't paid any attention to it, so I'll have to look when I go back in there on Monday. I'm not sure about that.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen the flashing yellow in quite a while.
Paul, which direction are you talking?
Eastbound on Stark at 257th.
Okay.
I actually have noticed that myself, but I'm sure it was because of safety concerns, people coming up and westbound on Stark. There was a lot of complaints about not being able to see until you're already turning. Someone's coming fast, someone's in the left-hand lane, the other direction you can't see, and you start to turn and they're coming like crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised if they took away that ability. There was complaints about that before, but we didn't request it. I'm sure that other people called it in or something.
But point of reference, it appears that even the lighting sequence itself has changed for some of the stuff. Because it used to be, at least some of the time during the day, if you were heading northbound on 257th and you got to start and you wanted to make a left, that sequenced after maybe straight ahead went. And then now it's changed where it goes first. So both left-hand turn lanes, north and south, go before the straights, and it used to not go that way, so.
Okay, let's see, there's nobody else online and nobody in the room, so I will close public comment on non-agenda items. Okay, we're moving on to item number 4, approval of January 8th, 2026 meeting minutes first. You guys had a chance to review. Is there any discussion?
On my last page.
I'll entertain a motion if anybody's ready. If there's corrections. Actually, I know there's a correction. I believe that, that's right, this was on meeting minutes. I was thinking it was for the next month, but no, there's some stuff from Paul that Paul's brought up. So let me just, Paul, do you want to address them or you want me to read them? You're muted if you're talking.
I was saying I can wait till you do the daily call review.
Okay, well, all right, thanks. I'm gonna talk about the thing that the first thing he talked about, which is the meeting minutes, which is Victoria listed both as present and absent. And I believe that you were present. I think that it's the next month you were absent. And you got excused, you told me about it. Did you miss 2 meetings in a row? I didn't go back and watch the video. But I know that Paul pointed out that you are listed both on January 8th as present as well as absent. And you can't be both.
I think I was absent both.
Do you think you were absent on both? Okay, so,
Well, it's this, on section 9 of February 5th, we have Tyler Harrington, the original Michelle, gave a brief update on the public safety working group. And we also have her as absent and excused. So,
I know she was absent February 5th. I can't remember January.
so then we need to
I just don't know
change
about
that
I believe January 8th, she was here, but, and you do not remember for sure. Do you think you missed 2 meetings in a row? You think you missed 2? Okay, so then we'll just take her off of being present, so that on January 8th, 2026, she was not present at the meeting. She is excused. She's listed as, so that's a correction. Any other corrections that anyone has?
Run that by me again.
On the January 8th, just looking at the January 8th, I'm showing it lists right there as present Victoria Rizzo, and then underneath it says absent Victoria Rizzo. So I'm going to take her off of the present line. She's gonna,
Okay.
that's what I'm going to, that's my correction.
And then February 5th.
Okay, let's not do that one first, we'll do first January 8th first. Does anyone have any comments on January 8th? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Oh, it's so hard. This is Sherry. I move that we approve the January 8th, 2026 minutes for the Public Safety Equity
Advisory Committee. Thank you. Okay, I'll take, is there someone have a second?
Second.
Frank, okay, any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Now I'll look at the next set of minutes for February 5th. Does anyone have any corrections for February 5th?
Just the one that I was stating, that she's absent on February 5th, but she's also noted in section 9 as being here.
Yep. Okay, so we'll update that, so I know she was, I know, so, she told me ahead of time, so we'll just take her off of that number 9, she's not listed there, it'll just be Twyla and Rich gave an update.
Not just memory.
Anybody else have any corrections? Okay, I'll entertain a motion on that one.
This is Frank. I'll make the motion that we move to approve as amended meeting minutes for February 5th, 2026 for the Public Safety Safety Equity Advisory Council.
Excellent. Just a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, passes. So, excellent. We should be caught up on meeting minutes. Yay. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 5, review of monthly law enforcement reports from February. So let's just start with Nick. Is there anything that you'd like to call to our attention on them?
There is not. It's been very slow this past like 2 months, and I don't.
Okay. Does anybody have any comments or questions on the law enforcement reports, what you've reviewed this month? Then I'm going to go ahead and, do you want to go ahead now, Paul, and ask your questions? Or do you want me to ask them that you've then submitted into me?
Yeah, actually, you can go ahead. I don't have them in front of me.
Okay. So Paul had noted that on the call log, we have stolen vehicles on the 5th, the 12th, the 24th, and the 25th. But on the page that shows the number of stolen vehicles on our other part of the report, it's blank. I think I know the reason why that, but I'll let you answer there, Nick.
I can't answer that because I don't know how they track that in the data system. That's going to be our crime analysis guy, which is Kevin Morelli, and however he tracks that, records it, I am unsure how that works.
Okay, this is my answer, and we can always certainly follow up again with Kevin. So I'll just make a note to just follow up and ask him about this specifically. But remembering the log is those that get called in. Someone calls in and reports and says, I have a motor vehicle theft or whatever. And the police arrive on scene. And they might discover that, oh, this has been called in erroneously. Their son took the car, or I don't know, or it's, whatever. There wasn't a vehicle because they didn't fill out a report. There was a stolen vehicle. So what we get the crime statistics is what actually happened, and the call logs is what people requested service for. So potentially that's the reason, but I will confirm with Kevin, make sure. I think that's the discrepancy.
Four different.
That's 4 times,
seems a
which
little
seems a
like-
lot,
yeah.
but I have no idea, so. Other than that, I didn't analyze the address on all of those. Okay, then also he noted that vehicles recovered. It's noted in the call log that on 227 that a vehicle was recovered, yet on the crime statistics report, it shows nothing recovered. So again, I'll ask Kevin to make sure, because it does seem interesting that it doesn't get reported if something was recovered, so I don't know. If you have any comments on that, Nick, I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but.
I don't. I would just divert you over to Kevin because I don't know how to answer that.
Okay. Then there's targeted patrols noted for Phoenix Drive on 214, and was just looking for a greater explanation on that.
All that's going to be is just an extra patrol in the area, just showing that somebody's out down there.
Okay. Paul, if you needed any further, if you need to embellish on any of these, feel free to let me know and I'll just stop. And also a question about the death investigation on the 21st of February with a priority 2. The response was 9 minutes and 23 seconds before it's arrived. So I didn't actually look this one up, Paul, so this one I specifically didn't, so if there's anything I'm not saying right on that one. 221. See if I can give you an address here.
Mary, is he just are you just wondering, Paul, how come it was only 9 minutes span?
No, the response time was 9.5.
Was it an anticipated death? Somebody that was on, yeah.
It could be, right?
Yeah, it was in the Sandy Palisades neighborhood based on the address, I believe. And a report was written on it. Normally, you would write a report on a death investigation anyhow, wouldn't you? See what happened.
Not
If it's cleared easily.
ask Nick. Nick, if there's you don't write reports on all deceased calls, do you? If it's like a hospice death?
If it's not in the custody, like in a hospital or like a care facility, we almost always do. But if it's in a medical facility where they're being monitored, then sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Depends on the circumstances.
Thank you.
Paul, do you want to add anything more to get it better? I mean, do you need any more answer on that death investigation?
No, that's fine.
Okay, and then his last question was, on 222, he noted that there was a cluster of parking problems, like must have had a bunch of parking issues, must have been called for something like that, around on 222. So let's see if we can call up an address on that.
Yeah, that entire page was all parking problems at different addresses on the same day.
Oh, yes, you're totally right. So what's the deal with that?
You're at 2300.
They're self-initiated. Lots of self-initiated, so you recollect or you know anything about that, Nick?
I don't know. That could be a plethora of things. It could be somebody's going through the neighborhood and just dealing with abandoned vehicles, parking issues, expired tags. It could be a multitude of things.
Yeah, because there's a bunch of citations issued.
That actually would make sense.
In Lancaster.
But they're all over the place, so maybe they were on a detail to specifically look into these kinds of things. Okay, Paul, did you have anything else that I missed or you wanted to add to this that you wanted to ask Nick?
No, that's good. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Paul. Any of you guys have any questions for Nick?
Mary Howell, I was just wanting to know, I noticed when looking at the call log that there were a lot of calls down on the frontage road area. I mean, have you noticed any upbeat down there?
I have not when I'm working, but I mean, that comes and goes over time. Sometimes it's busy down there, sometimes it's not. So it's just kind of hit and miss.
Okay. Thank you.
I could keep my mouth shut.
Hey, Nick, this is Frank. Unwanted persons, 66 this month? That's like twice as many.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about, whether it's at businesses or at houses or just somebody on the street. Again, those are numbers that'll fluctuate regularly.
Yeah, they seem to, and I'm looking at frontage road. I'm just wondering if there's a trend here. Something to look at. I'll keep an eye on it. Thanks, Nick.
Okay, if nobody else, I don't mean to rush you guys. No more questions? Okay, because we can move on then. So move on to agenda item number 6, and talking about potential changes we might want to make to these reports. I mean, beyond what we've asked for heat maps, which they are looking, at possibly doing for us. But did you guys all receive, I sent you the call types this afternoon, all of the call types that they sent. Go ahead.
Mary, I couldn't open it up. I opened it up, but I don't know, I guess maybe my laptop, it's not,
Did any?
probably operator issue.
No, I'll make sure to send it to you again. Did anyone else?
Let me try, I can.
You
Send it
tried?
into a PDF?
I just sent it in however format you sent it to me in.
It's gonna be in Excel, but I downloaded it. I mean, it's an Excel document.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, he sent it to me, I think was Excel that he sent it to me, and I just sent it in, and rather than you guys have the stream of questions I asked him, I just detached and sent it to you guys individually. So I can help you out and try to
It's
send it.
okay, I probably just need to get Excel.
No, I can help you with
I have an
that.
iBook and I'm not
No, help
into
you.
iBooks, but I was given it, and so.
No, I'll get it to you in a different, does anyone else need it in a different format?
I don't speak.
I just say the down.
Okay, so that has the call types in it, and I don't know that it was for sure complete, but it seems to have a lot. I mean, 247 is a lot, but I think it also had the priority level, and I don't think those get duplicated. I mean, they duplicate them for that, and that's good. So you guys see on this front page of our report, we have the call types. And if we want to adjust, add something, because we have a lot under the other call type thing, and Frank, you just brought up the unwanted person. See, we don't even see visibility of that, right? So we might want to see that number of calls that are on that. So we could call out, if, I can't remember if that was one, that must be one of the call
Yeah.
types. So,
The location map is almost all on frontage.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
On Stark by
Stark.
the 257.
And are a lot of those you find that are self-initiated? Because I think that you indicated before. I mean, they get calls in too, but I think they are, when
Yeah,
they're
there's a lot
patrolling,
of,
they're.
so yes.
Yes, okay. But anyhow, that's something for us to consider, is this front page, if there's like, I'm not saying we have to eliminate it, but if there's any ones that we feel like, yeah, we don't really need visibility on that, we'd rather see, because I know we could add some, but I don't know how much we could before we would lose our graphic at the bottom, and it would go onto another page.
This is Sherry.
Sure, go ahead.
I know some people might dislike me for saying this, but I just kind of feel like that vacation home check seems less important than maybe, I don't know, a person or something like that.
As far as getting on a report.
Yeah.
Well, so maybe, I don't mean to put anybody on the spot here, and you guys haven't even had a chance to look at all those call types, but potentially like for next meeting, maybe if there's any you'd like to make sure that we see on this, and any maybe that we don't really, you have an opinion, don't care about. I mean, one thing that we could do that maybe if we feel we need better visibility to help us be better informed about how things are in this.
Looking at how extensive this is, wow.
I know, like I said, I think
Probably a
there's,
good thing that we don't get all of them, but
right.
some fine tuning.
How much do they charge?
I believe that Kevin indicated that some of these might end up being kind of redundant because they may have been introduced at the 911 system. Like they said, oh yeah, well, we need this other category. So then they get another, then people are quoting it that way, yet we have this other one that's almost like it. But so I don't know, that's what I remember him kind of talking about, so. At any rate, okay, so I won't have us labor over this unless you guys want to continue doing that, but otherwise, does anybody have any other pages of the report that you feel that have an opinion about? Like, we absolutely love this, or we absolutely don't need to see this? I mean, any changes we want to make to these law enforcement reports, other than we know we want heat maps, we want them both for what's called as well as what's actually the crimes.
I do have a question for you. Would you want us to mark on this thing the ones that we'd like to have on the report, or would you want us to mark the ones that we don't? I'm thinking the ones that we do would be less.
Yeah, I think we can discuss that, like, is it next meeting, or, you know, whatever you guys want to do about that. Anyone have any opinions on
I could be ready for next meeting if that's okay with everyone.
I mean, it's too many to look through, I really think, unless there was just obviously like, oh yeah, we want this, and the rest of them, we don't care. But I think you guys need time to process that. But then otherwise, like I said, I'm moving through the other pages. Do we all find that this is very helpful to have the page that tells us the dispatched versus self-initiated? And I'm not advocating to get rid of any of these pages. I'm just asking if anybody has opinions about this. And if we like it all and we just want additionally the heat maps, that's good with me too. Just want to do what the committee wants. What do we find is helpful for us to know if there's problems? I'm sure the sheriff's office looks at this already, but things that we find that there's problems that we want to try to address, encourage, or heighten awareness. Twyla.
I will defer to the rest of the group. I find that I like the big picture from the Multnomah County, and that heat map kind of tells me, I mean, it's been very consistent with what Nick says and kind of what the other, and I feel like some of the questions and things that come up around that, there's just not answers to, so I'm really okay with the high level and deferring to what everybody else wants. So.
Knowing that that is the actual crimes that are reported versus this front sheet that we get and the log stuff, some of that's what people call in and requesting service. So people have had some issues in. So. Anybody else have any? Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
All right. I would like, if one of you will argue why we should have the community policing contacts and meetings page.
I'm really good at arguing just for arguing, but
Can't help me out there.
yes, but I'm okay with that.
You're okay with
Omitting it.
omitting it, yeah. I mean, I am too, for that matter.
So nobody can argue for it.
Okay.
Okay, then maybe that's something we don't need.
Okay.
Again, I thought maybe if somebody gave me a reason, I feel like each time I've ever looked at it, I haven't really known what to make of it.
I think we should make a motion to task ourselves with going through this log as it is and decide maybe what we think, and then go through the list that you obtained of the different
All types.
the call types,
They call them case types, I think.
and see if there's anything that really stands out, and then discuss it next.
Okay.
Prepared.
This is Frank. I would recommend at the next meeting we have like the document being able to be worked by the group on social media so that whoever's on my can work it as well. Does that make sense? I've been to a couple of meetings where we work documents that are hard copies, but we don't actually have it up on a screen where we're working on it. So I reckon this is just a process thing. So
Well, I think we could do it right now. I could call it up the document.
yeah, so as you're working on the document and the inputs are being input, typically whoever is running the meeting would be able to make the corrections as a person brings them up. So that would be a living document basically that we're all using. It's just more efficient than having a hard copy where everyone's just throwing in their.
You know what I'm gonna ask?
Yeah, it's a little more challenging because working a live document is a little bit different than working a PDF.
Yeah.
Like PDF doesn't really allow you to kind of get in and do whatever. And plus, they're not even our reports, so they're Multnomah County reports, so you would end up having to have Kevin online manipulating the report.
That's what I'm asking is, how are we gonna do this? I'm more interested in totally go home with the homework, I got that. Then how do we approach it at the meeting and go through it item by item?
Well, what are we trying to achieve, I suppose?
Yeah, so
that's the question, right?
ultimately, we were trying to create a document to hand over to them and basically go, this is what we're looking for in your document, correct?
I was thinking we're telling,
We're just
trying to, we were thinking, if we're not looking at these pages, and I don't care if we get these electronically,
Yeah.
then people can just disregard the page.
Okay.
But if we're having to print these out, we're just like, well, if nobody's looking at it, why are we wasting paper printing this?
Yeah.
So I think that's the part that we've asked for heat maps, but not like the way they have it on the crime dashboard.
Right.
Anytime you get a heat map, I don't know how they've decided that arbitrary zones.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even make sense. It says, oh, this zone, and it's crossing boundaries, major boundaries. That isn't a neighborhood. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So we want where it's closer to a dot in an area.
Right.
We've all talked about that. That's what we want. And we want it both for what's called for service as well as the actual crimes. Because we want to know, what is this area? Oh, they're always calling. They always think there's something going on. But there's really not crime there afterwards. Or maybe there is. So just looking at the crime stuff doesn't seem to tell us what people are calling. And for service. And the other problem we have is the address that's used. Like Kevin brought up, the location, there's only one address. And it's where they got dispatched to. Somebody called it in from there, or they went to the police station and they put in that address. That's not where the crime happened.
Yeah.
So, at any rate.
So it sounds like, if I'm understanding this correctly, we're focusing on the categories that you sent out. And that will be our focus for the next meeting of compare that to the document. What do we want to see and what do we not want to see?
Yeah, like that front page. Yeah, I was just looking at that one front page of the report. We've complained about this before. The all other call types is such a huge number.
Right.
We kind of want more visibility on it. But then, there's a trade-off. Then they're going to run out of room to have this on the same page and have this graph if we want this graphed.
So we would come, yeah.
I guess I'm just.
So we would end up with one person that took all the notes basically from the meeting. And then I'm trying to figure out how do we end.
Yeah.
And then you could interact with the people that are on it as well. So, okay. Yeah.
I mean, I think.
I'm just trying to figure out the process that can get us through this. Because it can get really confusing really quick and we could run in circles, so.
Well, we're working off of their reports that they've had for years.
Yeah, I
And
didn't think of the
obviously,
PDF.
they are deciding this year.
Different game, yeah.
My question here is like, what's going to benefit, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, Mary's before me, yeah.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I'll wait my turn.
Oh, go ahead, because you might answer my question.
My question is, what do we want to get out of these reports? And where's it going? What's going to benefit people the most, right? So you want to see the heat map, which makes sense because it's a general overview. It shows you where most of the crime is happening and where the sensitive areas are. So then we can focus our attention on these areas to improve it. I think that's a very beneficial aspect of what you're asking. When we have these 100-page reports with crime calls and everything else, and we're getting into the weeds of everything that we don't really need to get into, it's really none of our business, but it would be nice, I think, in general, if we just had a bigger picture idea going on that kind of gave us like Furnace Road is a hot spot. Stark and, 257th is a hot spot. If we just had those hot spots, then we would be able to focus our attention on what's really important for the community, perhaps. So maybe that's something we do ask.
I totally agree with what you said, but I think what we've kind of been zeroing in on too is noticing that in the call log, for instance, I went through, and this is rough, but I went through and looked at all the calls that were report written or arrested, and there were like 115 calls on that call log. Report written and arrested. But this sheet that you see online only is 63. So where's that 42 extra calls? And maybe, and then also with a heat map, I was wondering if we couldn't incorporate the unwanteds on there. Where are those unwanted reports at? So that's just, I think that's what we're wanting to do, is just kind of zero in.
So this is Nick here. I can tell you that probably 95% of the unwanted calls when we go to, they do not get a report. We go there, we tell them to leave and facilitate the person leaving from the business or wherever it is, and they leave, we write no report, and then we move on.
But as far as the 63 reports that are unaccounted for on this, where are they?
Yeah, so I'm not sure how they're tracking that, or they might have different filter systems on both of those, because you guys have two different, you have the call log and then you have the reports, and however our crime analysis thing tracks that or follows it, I don't know the answer to that. But as far as from a law enforcement perspective, when we go to an unwanted call, whether it's at a business or residence or somebody calls in an unwanted in front of their driveway, 95% of the time we do not write a report on it unless it ends up in an arrest, because they're absolutely refusing to leave, and then it turns into a trespass issue.
So Nick, what you're basically saying is that what pops out on the main report are the ones that are actually main offenses or written, they've reached a certain category or reached a certain level of attention, right? And the ones that don't reach that level don't necessarily make the report.
I'm guessing so. That's something you'd have to ask Kevin. I'm not sure, but I would lean towards saying yes on that, but I'm not for sure on it. Because he's running, I think they're running two different types of data collections on there between the call logs and the reporting system. And I'm not sure how they track that or what kind of filters they use on that for that purpose.
Yeah, I just, the more I think about it, just contextually, so this summer I had when I looked on the reports, it showed up at my house as an unwanted person. And so I think we also bring our own context to what that was. But it was actually a person who showed up at my house lost with different capabilities. And I was calling to get them help from the police to figure out where they belonged. But that also came up as an unwanted person. And so our lenses without that information don't always give us the whole story. So I think that's important to recognize also.
I'm just going to say, in conversations with Mary before, though, this is Sherry, that I do believe that one of Mary's biggest concerns is the report that should be written that doesn't end up showing up to make us look like we're all fine and dandy when there maybe is more crime going on than we're realizing it. And I realize it's a benefit to selling Troutdale is all sweet and everything, but I think in the end, it's like just being really truthful about it. And that's, am I right? Is that a little bit more where you want to make sure something is written that is supposed to be written and it's identified that way? And
Well, in regards to what we need for this committee,
yeah,
I'm concerned, I have a question about the 63, the difference between the call log arrests and report written discrepancy between that and being 115 versus only 63 when you look it up online. So that was my focus, basically.
If there's an arrest on anybody or any type of citation that's issued or anything, there's a report associated with all of that. There's not going to be a citation or an arrest that is made or issued to somebody where a report is not written. That never happens.
Go ahead.
So like she said, she found on that call log, there was arrests, 115 arrests.
Or written.
Or reports written. But when she looks at the crime dashboard, it only shows 63 arrests.
No, report writtens.
Oh, reports written.
I mean, you're looking at 14 person crime, 24 and 25. You add those together, that's 63.
And again, those are two different types of data collecting systems they're using. So I'm not sure how they're tracking that, but that's all I can say on that because I just don't know the answer to it.
Pose it to Kevin.
Yeah,
I mean, and I
I
don't
think
know if
that's a
I can
Kevin
ask
answer.
him.
I mean,
hate
question.
to ask him to come again, but
Can I just ask what page you're getting the 115 reported ones?
she went
And
through
I said
and
that one,
counted.
so I went through the
All the
actual
calls, each and every call? Okay.
and looked at how they're cleared.
Oh, yeah.
Cleared with an arrest or cleared with a report written, I counted it.
Okay, so where it says like to the right, the column on the right where it says reported none, reported warrant, report, that would be a write-up, reported. Or what?
No,
Where
it would say,
dispatch,
report written, so it would be cleared with an A or a F.
okay,
Clearance code.
cleared by arrest, cleared by assignment, I got you.
Well, the other category would be cleared by a B for a baker, which means a cite and release.
Yeah, I didn't count those though. And then that's not even, because isn't J also, some of those J clearances have reports written as well as some do not, is that correct, Nick?
A J is no, you're not, there's no reports on those. If you write a report, you clear it with an A, B, or an F.
Yeah,
Okay,
the F actually is followed by a report written, right?
so I only counted the A's, arrest, and the F's.
If you see an A, B, or an F by any category in there, there's a report associated with those.
Then we also have on the call log, it says whether there was an arrest made or not.
Yeah, I see
Yeah,
it.
we had them add that, so.
I thought maybe there was like a summary page that kind of called that out.
Well, I suppose in
In theory, it's that one
theory,
page,
it's that
right?
top front page,
It's
right?
your 63 reports written or reports served versus the 100. And so what my question was the tallying effort.
Well, okay, so you guys, I think going through the call types, if we want to change this front page, go through this whole stack of pages, if there's any pages you want to remove, but if we're going to just receive it electronically and we're not printing it, okay, who cares? We can all have it. We can have the whole thing as it is, but we're still working towards sheriff's office. They're trying to accommodate us at some point when they're looking at this suite of reports. They may be changing these also. Because this is the time of the year, I guess, or every so many years they look at their suite of reports and go, well, is anybody looking at these? Are these beneficial? I guess we could provide feedback if we said, yeah, we really don't look at that page. It doesn't mean anything to us. We provide feedback, but I guess, kind of whatever. Okay. So, let's see. Oh, go ahead, Rich.
So I did want to mention that Frank's idea of sharing a document is really efficient business. But I think it could be challengeable on a public meetings law, right? violation. If you're getting input from everybody into the same document, probably somebody's going to challenge that.
This is at the meeting. It wouldn't be, this is during the meeting, not
Oh, it's
separate.
just during the meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think.
Yeah, I understand that.
As long as the results are shared also during the meeting.
Yeah, my concern was mostly for the Zoom, the guys on Zoom and not being able to follow it, basically. So if you couldn't make it to the meeting and you're online, you wouldn't have any visibility.
Right. Unless we did something where each one of us are able to say what's important to us, and then we can see in the document
Yeah.
what's popular.
Yeah. But that would only be at the meeting. I wasn't discussing off meeting.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Thanks for clarifying. That helps out a lot.
Okay, well, any other feedback on these reports? Any other things that I'll take to Kevin, the questions that, see if I can get clarification for the things that Paul brought up about the stolen vehicles, vehicle recovered, why the report doesn't reflect, unless they really wasn't. I guess I didn't look through the log to see if it cleared it with nothing, meaning nothing, like a assignment complete. And then I will also see if I can ask him about what you've just brought up. And if it's deemed right, I'll see if I can get him to come and answer questions, okay? And how's that sound? All right. I'll just ask one more time. Does Paul have any, or anybody else online wanting to say anything else about the law enforcement reports? None. Okay, let's move on. Agenda item number 7. Okay, now what's our focus? Let's see, let me ask Nick about our focus from last month. I guess since the trail isn't open, I think we asked for extra concentrated patrols on Sherry Nesbitt Heritage Park and I think Columbia Park. Anything to report on there?
The only thing that happened down by the new park was there was some transients that had broken into, or I don't even know if they broke into it or just got into the Connex box down there. And Union, it's on Union Pacific property, and they came down there and cleared them out. And other than that, that's I think the only thing I can think of.
Okay. Thank you. So,
There's been a lot of deputies kind of hanging out in that area and driving around regularly down there, so I think it's kind of keeping problems away.
good. And then, have we had any more vandalism at Columbia Park in the restrooms?
I have not heard anything since that last incident.
Okay, good. All right, well, so you guys have any input on what we asked Deputy to take care of this next month? Any focus areas, or aside from Paul bringing up seeing kids cruising around in neighborhoods, riding on scooters on sidewalks and motorized things in the middle of the street, I guess.
This is Sherry. I'm just going to bring it up from our parks meeting that we had. There was somebody on committee that had brought up a bit of a concern about the area around Buxton and Stark at the time when the Corbett School has brought down the buses, and discussion on some unsafe, crossings or what have you. I don't know. I go through kind of there sometimes, and I haven't seen kids at the intersection myself, so I'm not sure that I'm feeling it, but I do know that it was brought up as an area of concern and a liability possibly to the city, and so rather than not mention it.
So are you referring to when the bus stops right at that corner? The kids get out of the bus and they come around the back and cross the street?
To be honest with you, I'm not sure. What I understood in our meeting, what sounded like to me, the Corbett buses go into the parking lot and unload kids. And there's a lot of people that pick up kids there in cars. And then there's a long stream of cars. And then also the little, what is it where you are, some charter school there?
Yeah.
Okay. It releases at some point too. I'm not privy to know all the whens, but it sounded like there was possibly crossing of the street, and I'm guessing right at that intersection by kids. So if a bus is dropping off at that intersection, that seems really suspect to me, because there's no houses right there at that intersection.
Mary, I was just gonna say, I was down there the other day, and I'm normally not, but I was sat in the parking lot. And I think from what I saw, the buses drive into the parking lot, not out on Troutdale Road and Stark. Is that what you're talking about then?
Yeah, the concern had been brought up about the intersection, I think itself, or crossing the street, and it not being protected enough, and there's no crossing guards and stuff, and of course, there wouldn't be crossing guards in situation like that. However, the school drops off kind of closer to the pickleball courts, I think. Corbett does. The other school over there, I don't know when they get out, and I don't know how they release or if kids walk from there. I'm not sure if that's what he was talking about, but just going through there, because the intersection becomes almost a failed intersection with backed up traffic, for let's say 10 or 15 minutes maybe at the most, I'm not sure. I pop through and I sometimes see the length of it, but I'm not necessarily impacted with the oncomings. Anyway, and I don't know, I'm not sure if Nick would have anything to say about it, but possibly it's something to look at.
I know that Corbett's been dropping off there for years, but Nick, do you have anything? Have you seen unsafe stuff in that area, or have you been there when they've been dropping off kids in the park?
Every time I've been up there and they're dropping people off, it's always been usually gridlock traffic in that area. So I haven't personally seen it.
This is Frank. Yeah, I saw the gridlock. I think Sherry's spot on with the timeline. I think it's like 15, 20 minutes probably. MLA kicks out about the same time as the Corbett School drop-off. I was hoping to get some more info from the Troutdale bike shop right there, because they have a direct view right out to the parking lot, so they could give me a heads up on what the time is so I could show up and just watch it, but I never got into it. A gentleman by the name of Jim Hill was the one that brought it up at Parks. His concern was mostly at the bus stop, and not the bus stop with the school bus, but the bus stop with TriMet.
Oh.
So the kids are crossing the road. So they're getting off the bus, they're going to like Dairy Queen, and then crossing the road to get to the bus stop to get home. See where I'm going? So that bus stop, if you look at that bus stop, it's dirt. There's like the size of my computer space for them to stand. And when I went through there on my bike, I must have saw 7 kids crowded into the spot. There was no way a car could get around them. So you have like this moment in time where it's like, oh my God, this is the worst possible situation we could have for traffic safety right now, with all of these cars coming and going. And it's organized chaos, but so far no one's been injured. But his concern was how close the bus is to the children that are getting on the bus to get to wherever they're going. So it's not as much the drop off in the parking lot, it's that transition going across each one of those intersections. Stark is a Strode. I mean, that's a road where people are going pretty fast and they're taking left and right turns without looking. You know, I'm amazed we haven't had incidents.
And it's undeveloped on that side.
And it's undeveloped. So as you go down Troutdale Road, you will see that there's only a sidewalk on one side. There's nothing on that side. And it narrows. So now you have that school. So you have 2 schools. That's Corbett and MLA. And then right up the street is a church school that's cutting out at the same time. So now I have all of those pieces coming into one location and colliding. So far, we've been lucky. Can we do that from a public safety standpoint? Would having a sheriff's department vehicle make any difference? I don't think so. I think it's design. I think we need to, I've already reached out to TriMet. I think it's an engineering and design issue, not as much enforcement, so.
Okay, this is Sherry, I'm sorry. If the bus stop was moved by a little bit, would that help?
You mean like moved
Away from the intersection?
away from that location? I would talk, I mean, when I sent it to TriMet, my recommendation was, could you make the stop on the opposite side where there's actually a sidewalk? Right? Or make a stop that's actually in the parking lot to pick up children that are getting off the bus. That's TriMet's game. So,
Oh, yeah, okay.
and this property belongs to county. That's the other issue too. So Troutdale Road and Stark Street Road are both county roads.
Is there room on the northwest side of that intersection? That'd be my
For a bus to,
that's traveling.
that's parking.
Westbound.
yeah, so you'd have to remove parking for the apartment complex on that side.
See?
Yeah. Yeah. So you can see where Troutdale Road construction that's gonna happen, it's on the list for Multnomah County. So you can see where that's gonna be a player, but what are we doing in the interim to protect our kids that are trying to get home? Not everyone's getting picked up by their parents, unfortunately. So that's why you have that dirt trail on the south side. It goes right over the bridge, so. Anyway, Jim Hill brought that up. He lives in
Yeah.
Sweet Briar.
I knew, I was just trying to be.
Oh, he'd be more than happy to hear.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a great topic and reaching out to TriMet, and I plan on bringing it up at the East Multnomah County Transportation meeting as well.
I was just gonna say, I agree. I travel Halsey where that other bus stop is in the morning. And that one, I would say there is even more clearance for you to kind of be safer off the side of the road, but also very dark on that one. But the one that you are talking about in particular, yeah, and especially once you get a bunch of kids over there that are kind of roughhousing and there's no room for air at all.
Is it fairly soon that the bus, we just have been fortunate, the bus comes along to get these kids soon after? They don't stand there, but.
Honestly, I don't know. I haven't watched the whole process, so.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I know as a parent, if I were a parent, I'd be picking up.
Not letting a kid take a city bus to get the rest of the way home.
I always just had my kids walk on the other side and
Yep.
go across
And then
the
cross.
Beaver Creek and
Yeah.
go, yeah.
Realized Multnomah should be starting on the Beaver Creek Viaduct this year, so it's gonna be part of it.
Anybody else have any suggestions for focus area? Okay. All right. No one's saying anything online. All right, let's see, let's move on. Update from the Public Safety Working Group. Do you guys have anything?
Look who we have.
No,
Actually, we don't even have that.
I already asked Mike and he's.
Tell us what's going
Nothing
on.
to,
Nothing.
yeah, so what we're kind of looking at right now and where we're at is we've signed a 5-year IGA extension with the city of Gresham that keeps us currently at the rates that we've been at with mild increases over the next 5 years that are still expensive and still more than we can afford, but far and away better than the initial offer of like doubling the expense. So this actually goes up more like 7% every year. It's like 7.5% every year, or somewhere right in that number. I want to say it's actually 7.3, if I'm remembering exactly correct. So that'll get us through 5 years. In that time, what we've done is we have a fire task force. So the mayor, myself, and Councilor One go over to Gresham every month and meet with this fire task force that has 3 individuals from every city, and along with the fire chief, District 10, and let's see who else is on there. Oh, and the union, fire union is there too. And so what we're trying to work through is what's actually feasible and what is going to be palatable to our taxpayers. Because ultimately this cost comes back to the public at some point in time. One way, shape, or form, there's no way, there's no splitting hairs. it's a cost that keeps increasing, and it's increasing at an unsustainable rate. So either we cut our fire service to a point where some people aren't willing to accept that as a cut, or we raise rates one way, shape, or form. So what does that rate look like? Is there a sustainable rate out there? And that's kind of what we're looking at. So we've had now, I want to say, 4 meetings with the Fire Task Force. And we brought the information back to the PSEAC group every time. And I think we're getting closer and closer and closer to actually getting something that's productive. And at the last Fire Task Force meeting, we got some numbers from Tiberius Solutions. They're the group that's pulling these numbers off the tax bases and computing numbers on what it takes to run a fire station and what other agencies are spending per fire station and how the makeup of those fire stations is modeled or organized, and if there's any cost savings here and there. But when we got the numbers, it was all kind of like there was no clear correlation between the numbers and what we were kind of looking for. Like, where's the golden ticket that's going to tell us that this is the affordable model and this one's not? And there just wasn't that correlation wasn't in that data. And so it boiled down to, this is great, appreciate the data, love the numbers, they're useless for us. It doesn't tell us a story. It just tells us that we're all in this together and we're all paying extremely high rates for fire service. And so,
Can we compare to like the other side of town? Because
That's what
you're
we're
even
doing.
familiar with,
Yeah.
because theirs
So
is
we
so
had-
much less.
yeah, so we had TVFNR, we had Hillsborough, we had Salem Kaiser, we had Eugene Springfield, we had a number of other cities throughout, Clackamas one, and you're correct. Yeah, there was a number of them that when you looked at per station were less, but then the numbers that we received didn't necessarily tell us what the makeup of that station was. Are they putting just a medical unit in that station, or is it a medical unit with a fire truck and a ladder truck, or is it 2 medical units and 2 fire trucks? Is it a water tanker and a fire truck and a medical? We don't know what the makeup of those fire stations are. And if you're in a rural fire district, you might just have a fast response truck per fire station. So that fire station only takes you, $300,000 to operate. So then your average drops down. Whereas in Gresham, they have 6 firehouses when we kind of need a lot more. It would be better if you were to redesign all of Gresham from scratch. You'd probably have something like 10 to 12 fire stations to cover our same square footage. But the cost per fire station in Gresham was the highest. So it's like 7.2 or 7.1 million per fire station. And yet, when you looked at some of the others, when you looked at Clackamas, it was like 3.8 per fire station. But then your per capita, then they had a per capita cost on there, right? So, but per capita, Gresham's the lowest, and per capita, Clackamas is the highest. Well, they're highest because it's per capita and it's a rural fire district, right? So and we're lower because we're a denser population base. So the numbers were great. They spurred a conversation. They got us thinking. But what it really boils down to is, what do we need to operate our fire district in the model that's going to fit our population? So let's determine what we need, and everyone give us a proposal. Gresham, give us a proposal of what you would do to meet this model, what a 4-city district would look like, and what is necessary to run that, what the makeup of the fire stations is going to be. So basically an implementation model and a cost projection for that model. And then District 10, we want you to come in, give us a proposal, and tell us how you would run this fire station and what you would run it for, how much money it was going to cost you. Okay, Clackamas 1, you guys come in, give us your proposal. And so over the next 3 months, Gresham is supposed to come in next week on March 12th, I think, is our meeting. And they're going to give us their proposal for what it would take to put in a 4-city district and to run it with optimal service levels. Because right now we have a couple big glaring gaps in our fire service, not necessarily Troutdale, but Troutdale adjacent. And so when a call occurs in those areas, then our Troutdale truck goes out and our Troutdale firehouse responds, which then leaves a gap over Troutdale if they're responding over there. So there's some challenges there. Granted, you're not likely to get 2 big fire calls at the same time. So, Troutdale's pretty good overall, but we do have gaps. But Wood Village, Fairview, and Pleasant Valley are pretty much the big gaps that we see in the fire service area. And so they're proposing to put like temp units in there until they can get them developed over time. But I've seen some pretty crazy costs coming out of this, and trying to figure out how we're going to afford that, or if ratepayers are going to be willing to pay that. Some of the numbers that have come out, I just look at and I'm like, there's just no way. I'm not going to be able to convince anyone that this is good for them, and given the return, there's just nothing there. So we're looking at like, okay, if this is what we need, then we need to be able to explain that to the taxpayer. The best way that we can do that is providing all this information and getting it out to them, and actually evaluating all these different models as best we can, and then finding which model is the best, and then saying, okay, now what's the right size for us? Because it's going to boil down to, that's great. We'd love that that's the model that would work best but can we actually afford it? And if we can't actually afford it, then what's the right size model that we can't afford? So I think we're getting there, but it's taking a lot. The first couple of meetings were not it was just kind of laying out the groundwork, like, this is how we're going to meet, this is what we're going to try to work on, this is where we're trying to get to. Okay, that's great. Next meeting, okay, what do you got for us? Nothing? Okay, great. Well, we'd like to see some stuff. And then the third meeting was like, well, this is interesting, but it doesn't move the needle at all for us and doesn't get us anywhere. It's all information that we already had. And then finally at that meeting, we're just like, look, we need to see some data. And so that's where we're at now, going into this meeting here. And hopefully we'll have a more productive meeting this time around, and then I'll have more information to bring back to the PSEAC to actually pass on some better information and figure out where we're at. But the initial estimates are about a need of about $52 million for our area to operate those 8 1/3 fire stations. Right now, Gresham has 6. And they're saying to fill those gaps in Pleasant Valley, Wood Village, Fairview, and North Troutdale, we need about 8 1/3. So that's what they're estimating the cost is, 52 to 53 million. And if you're looking at a general tax rate for what that means for Troutdale, it comes out to about $3.46 per thousand additional, which is
No way.
crazy. So yeah, I don't see that passing. And then you're looking at, okay, well then what does happen, and how can you provide the fire service that we need? What's the right model level? So hopefully, District 1, their tax rate's at $2.85 per thousand. Clackamas 1 is at $2.42, but then they have a 50-cent levy on top of that, the capital levy on top of that. So it comes out to $2.92 per thousand. And then when we look at some of the other models like TVFNR and Hillsborough, and we try to figure out what they're operating off of per thousand, I think then you get a different model and a different scale. The glory of those two areas, see where TVFNR's coverage and Hillsborough's is their total assessed value with Intel and some of those other things, just skyrockets the amount of money that they bring in off of that tax base. Whereas us, this higher tax rate that we're charging, we have to have that higher tax rate in order to produce a similar funding source over a similar population like as Hillsborough would have, or TVFNR. TVFNR is really big. They have a really big district on the west side. So it's interesting on their front because theirs is like just about $2. It's actually less. I think they have their operating is like $1.56 or something, but then they have another operating or capital levy on top of that gets them really close to $2. I don't know the exact number that they're at. I can get you that information, but they do a phenomenal job. I've worked with them over there, and they just do a great job. And I think that is a economy of scale, if you will, that TVF&R brings to the table. I think it might be a little bit harder on this side to bring that same economy of scale as well as the efficiency, because TVF&R had the luxury of kind of building it from the ground up as development was occurring. They were planning on where they're going to put their firehouse in, and I think we were kind of late to the party on that front. So we have our challenges for sure on this side. So there are some additional costs, I think.
So one question though, what you're looking at the rate from us, that's not going to include any capital. That's just an operating sort of.
Well, I think part of that would be some portions that would go toward capital. So some of those operating pieces would go toward adding some of the capital pieces, but you're correct. There might be other aspects that are bigger, long range down the road that might have to go out for capital levy or something to that effect. But it was interesting in talking to Gresham at the last meeting, because they told us at that point in time, well, we could man that station now. In other words, if they had a pop-up structure at Halsey and 238 or whatever, they could man it with the staff that they have currently. But they don't have one there, probably because of the capital expense of a temporary station, plus the added expense for electrical, service, water, everything else that goes along with it. So, but they are equipping the 2 firehouses on each side to respond to that area. So you can see that that's probably why they're higher cost per fire station, because they might be doubling up units in those locations to service the call volumes. There was something like, I think it was Chief Menard or the new Chief Harrison, they said that the area between us and Gresham that encompasses Fairview Wood Village there's so many calls in that area, thousands of calls in that area for service that they have to go to. And so then they dispatch from both Troutdale and I think it was 71 on the other side to try to service those areas. So
Those aren't usually fires, they're usually medical.
they are usually medical. And so that was one of my questions to them. I wanted them to take a look at the Salem-Kaiser model, because a long time ago, not too long ago, 10 years or so ago, the fire model in Salem-Kaiser was failing, like us, could no longer afford it. And so they combined fire with EMS service in the hopes that it would ascend an ambulance service, right? So they in our model, we have fire and EMS, and then we have AMR that does like transport service, right? So it's very duplicitous in that sense. And so one of the questions I had was, well, why don't you look to combine this? But that's another 800-pound gorilla that you have to slay in order to get Multnomah County to agree to release that. And so you're dealing with another entity and another structure that then you'd have to fold into the mix and see how that all goes. So they kind of backed off of that for now and just focus on, let's see what we can provide given what we have. So no doubt, but unless they can right size it, I'm having a hard time figuring out how we then turn that around and ask the ratepayer to, hey, we're gonna need you to throw some more money at this thing. And if that's the case, at some point in time, if the other 3 cities go to a fire district and we're left out on our own, well, we're either gonna have to contract at the rate that they're paying, which means then we have to look at, okay, do we have to raise the public safety fee then to pay for that? Do we look at other options? Do we go down an avenue of you know, I have a couple counselors say, well, we should just do a volunteer fire department. And I've heard some real risks that are associated with that, with our ISO ratings, and then everybody's house insurance goes up. So it's, I don't know, there's no easy answer.
Hybrid was talked about years ago,
Yeah.
some volunteers, some, I think
Well,
that,
and there's, yeah, even with the volunteer fire department, you still have to pay for the capital and everything else associated with it. So you're still spending money for trucks and engines and buildings and maintenance and everything that's,
it's great
yeah.
for the people, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just,
So there's, and then, yeah, there's no, like I said, there's no golden ticket solution, and it's unfortunate in where we're at with it. And so,
So when you just said, I can't remember your exact wording, but about raising a fee or assessing something, who does that really go against? Just property tax people or the utility
it goes
bill?
against utility bills.
So, like, I don't know that, let's say Troutdale Terrace, because this is our small like thing. Do they all have utility running meters, or do they run, so does it go against each one of them there, or?
Yeah, so right now, you mean if it's like a complex?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if it's a complex, it goes straight to the main meter on the complex, and they would be assigned per EDU. So the complex itself is assigned a equivalent dwelling unit quota. That quota gets assessed. Right now, it's $15 per EDU, and then it gets passed out or passed on to the rate or the renter or whoever at that point in time. But
Is that true for this adjacent? Maybe I'll, okay.
yeah, the one over,
Come forward.
same thing there. They'd get it's a $15 per EDU. They would get tagged with. They'd probably pass on to whoever's running the unit or add it on to the cost of the unit.
Whereas if it's property taxes, they don't pay anything.
Yeah, right. But I mean, there's the difference between property tax versus a ratepayer, and it depends on how you look at it, but it's the cost per person versus cost for property. And there's some different taxing mechanisms or theories behind property tax being a progressive tax versus a regressive tax. Sales tax is a regressive tax, property tax is a progressive tax, income tax is a progressive tax, whereas other taxes can be more like you pay a larger share based on your income. So if I'm making $30,000 and I pay $3,000 for a fee, and I'm making $200,000 and I pay $3,000 for the same fee, it's less impact on my overall monthly budget than it is for the person who's living off of, you know, a smaller amount of money. So if that's an example of a regressive tax, a progressive tax would be proportional to how much money or how much value you have assessed in your property. So it's a long story, and it gets really complicated when you dive into tax code stuff. So.
yes, it does, yes, it does.
I do think that was one of the things we spent a lot of time talking about is because the assessed tax value in Troutdale is higher than the other areas that would also be getting. And so kind of that we would be the ones that would be paying probably more so than Wood Village and Gresham and the other areas because their assessed tax values are lower than ours.
And a key point to that is our industrial park up north. So like when you look at the property values across the board in Troutdale, Wood Village, Fairview, Gresham, there's some similarities there. I think we all have highs and lows in our communities, but the real difference for Troutdale versus Fairview and Wood Village is our industrial complex. And so a lot of that TAV that's being assessed a higher rate would be on those areas, but those are also the larger employment centers that would have the most calls. So I don't think our individual taxpayers in Troutdale are gonna pay any more than anyone else. It's just Troutdale has a higher TAV overall based on our employment centers. So when you break it down by that, it's kind of your larger businesses who are using those services are paying a larger share or their fair share as well, so.
You think they really get more calls down there?
I would say with Amazon having thousands of employees down there, there's gotta be issues with that, right? Calls for services or what have you.
Most of our calls used to be the retirement home.
Yes, I would think retirement homes as
Retirement
well.
home, but so see, I was thinking that
The Amazon Center does get a fair amount of medical calls down there.
oh, they do, okay.
Yeah, it's probably, I don't know, probably a couple a week. I mean, the only time I ever really see them is like when I see a truck or an ambulance going down there, and I can pull up the call and look at it on my computer. But yeah, they get a decent amount of calls there. We just don't get dispatched to them because there's no reason for us to go.
Okay.
But you have Amazon, FedEx, the cold storage, all those are pretty large employers down there, so.
Would there be anything that when this does happen, or however, that those fees would appear so excessive to them that they would look to move?
Well, I don't know about that.
Okay.
Doubt it. I don't think they even are doing business. Those fees are gonna be other places as well. The one thing that they do have in that area is I think is it an enterprise zone out there?
I'm sorry?
Isn't it an enterprise zone out there? So they give their 10-year tax break situation. So they're making out pretty well.
I was gonna say, but then I just have the background of a little bit of business, and they always talk about, the tax break they get. However, they pay a community fee, some other fee that is basically like it.
Yeah.
So we always make them sound businesses like that, and it's not so bad.
Yeah, no, it's a great thing for Troutdale. Like, don't get me wrong on that. It's a huge boom for us and has enabled us to stay, I think, relevant on a lot of things and keep up with it. Otherwise, we'd be in a worse financial situation than what we are. So, yeah, big boon for Troutdale. The thing though with the industry is they depreciate the building value over that 10-year period. So by the time that 10-year period falls off, really your most of the value from all the stuff inside, like all the inside stuff gets depreciated out. So then you also have a depreciated value on the shell at the end of the day too. So it's not it goes down faster in industrial complexes than whether we were home residents.
Okay, I was just gonna say, I thought they do depreciation. It's insane. Roads are depreciated at if they're supposed to last for 28 years or something. There's no road that lasts for 28 years. So I mean, it's insane what the IRS requires you for depreciation stuff. That's a bunch of baloney, so.
It's a wise tax move for them to depreciate that value out so that then they're not getting taxed on that value too, so. It's savvy business making, so.
Yeah. Okay, so does anybody have that's pretty, no offense to the rest of you guys, but we never get quite that much information, but you guys.
Shout out to City Manager's Corner Part 1.
Oh, yeah?
Nice. Nicely done.
All right.
If you guys go to the city website, ton of information, very well written at a working man's level, I think, that really portrays a lot of the information we're talking about in simplistic ways that I think most people can understand.
Right.
Yeah, it's a complicated topic, and I think you did pretty well. I mean, I just read the conversation about basically how every city is drowning right now.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't know that or the why, and they don't understand the verbiage. And I think what you're doing is really transparent, which I appreciate. The fact that the guy that's just trying to pay his bills is going to be able to look at that and go, oh, that's why. And that helps immensely. So when it does come around to voting, they're going to understand that you established a relationship with the community. I think you guys are doing some great work, so thank you.
Well, let's move along. Okay, so next month's agenda, before I do that though, maybe let's see. Oh, I guess I'll save that for my comments later. So, let's see, next month, okay, well, we talked about what we're gonna do. We're gonna have the usual things, we'll have our meeting minutes, and we'll talk about the reports, and then you guys are all gonna come prepared so we can talk about changes for the reports. And we'll do our focus again, and you guys are gonna have another meeting, so maybe we'll, if there's anything else to tell us on the update? Any progress? What were you saying, Sherry?
Well, I just was thinking, is there any way that when the stuff comes out to us for like the next month's meeting or the agenda or something, it says it like a little bit more explicit? I just was feeling like unless you're going to reach out to Kelly, tell her what.
Yes, I'll reach out to her.
Okay. She might need to know that, so, okay.
Okay, so let's see, what else is something I read? Okay, so I guess I don't have anything else. Thanks. Oh, okay, I'm just gonna finish this agenda part. So, otherwise, is there anything else that you guys are wanting us to tackle yet, or otherwise we're getting?
I want to add Paul's request for an article, actually on, the timing's not awful, moving into summer. So a good update on like motorized kids, bike helmet law, that kind of thing, might be a good champion article.
Deadline was,
This would be the next quarter, not this quarter.
okay. Yeah.
And that would fit in with the summer kids getting out of school, I think, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd probably be a little late, but yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think it'd be good, because I know we were just talking,
We were just talking about it too.
and after Paul said that, in my neighborhood, I think our neighborhoods are even further apart, so it sounds like it's happening in others. There's like kids out on motorcycles and stuff going around, and it's great to see them. I'm just afraid with traffic and everything that there'll be an incident.
Had a little bit better weather, that's why everybody's
Yeah.
out, right? Yeah, get out.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody want to write the article?
I wonder too if we need to just better understand some of the rules and laws around it. Because like there's the e-bikes now, there's the kids on the gas motorcycles, and like.
I mean, I could do a briefing, depending on how detailed you want to get. I mean, I could cover e-bikes as an hour, just
Well,
e-bikes alone.
No, sorry.
I was just
See how
gonna,
I did that?
I'll try that next time.
I know, it's very skillful.
yeah, no, I don't think you're talking about writing an article and then you're talking about presenting to us, so I'm like, is that
Well,
what
that was yeah.
He was trying to get out.
Even even an article would have to be very broad and doesn't go into the details of, so, but I could help with that if you want.
I'll try to,
I've got a lot of resources I know that have already written these articles, so we could just benchmark a lot.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, as far as I understand too, that if they go past a certain speed, a kid can't even really be technically on them.
There's a lot to talk about there, yeah, for sure. Depending on which topic you're discussing.
I nominate Frank to write the article.
I think the article is good, but I guess also is it something that is gonna be enforced, right? It's good to put the information out there, I don't know if, kind of like the fireworks conversation every year.
Yes. It's probably complaint driven, so that's what Nick would say too, about pull over a kid on a, pull him over and talk to him or whatever, maybe, but, or encourage his parents to maybe.
We get those calls all the time, and to this day, I don't think I've ever actually been able to contact any of them because by the time we go up there, they're already inside.
You've already made it to Paul's house from mine.
I know your mom is my best line.
I can remember at school, after COVID kind of moved back in, a kid came through on his motorcycle, through the parking lot, in the back, did loops on the track a few times, and then sped out of the neighborhood. It's like, nobody could catch him. It's the same guy every time. Yes.
Well, I think I've sent you videos of, we see this on the park side a lot, so.
Huge variety of different types of vehicles now.
Yeah, and even the term e-bike is all over the place with regulations and what is and what isn't. And it's like, looks like a motorcycle to me, but okay.
Right, they have like electric bikes that look like motorcycles that the kids just cruise around on.
Yeah.
And they only go like 10 to 20 miles an hour, but it's still fun times, man.
Yeah, and it's throttle, not pedal, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in the industry right now, and it's not terribly regulated, so we're going to be on the receiving end of that for a while. And it's fairly cheap. That's the other issue. So these kids' parents are basically going, oh, it's a mode of transportation I can get for my kid. And they don't even think about helmets, speeds, like any type of education, training, safe routes to school stuff. These are things like, the legal side of it, there's a lot to talk about too. So there's different aspects of this that you would have to focus on.
I did see 2 segways go up Sandy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, wow.
Yeah, actually, that Segway was down on the Cha-Cha Trail the other day. Yeah. It was doing the whole route all the way up to Blue Lake.
One that gets me is it's like the unicycle one.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
Oh, the one wheels?
One wheel and a helmet.
Yeah.
There's a guy that commutes every morning
Yep.
up Sandy in his helmet and his one wheel in the dark, and I'm like,
So because of the new trail, we actually have people commuting, utilizing the trail to get to and from Amazon and FedEx. So the number of people that are actually utilizing going down the hill and then hitting that trail and then going around to their work is increasing dramatically.
They're using the closed trail?
It's a shared path, yeah. So right now, there's not a lot of rules and not a lot of enforcement on a multi-use path. So I'm one of those guys that pulls out his phone, takes a picture, or stops them and goes, you realize that this is illegal. Especially the younger kids that don't know any better. It's like anything over 20 miles an hour is typically, and it's a motorized vehicle. It's a motorized vehicle, which is illegal on a shared path. So yeah, I'm that guy, unfortunately.
And they got the metal on the bridge or the underpass, so.
They did. They were working on the lighting today. I talked to them.
Yeah,
Lighting.
I know, lighting.
So it'll be open before April. I think we heard last night that it'll be done by April, but
We can only have.
You just don't say anything.
It's less than a month away.
UP has to sign off on it. UP is the one that basically came out and shut us down for using it. Because when we had the metal up from edge of right of way to edge of right of way, well, that pretty much is the safety zone. So it's enough to allow us to go use it. When UP came out and shut us down, so no, it's not. So, but the metal finally came in. It's taken almost 3 months to get the metal reordered because the story I got was they had the metal, but then they ran over it with a forklift, and then they had to send it back and reorder it, and it's custom and everything else. So then it's taken like 3 months to get the metal back to finish the gauge. So.
The electricians were working out in hail the other day. It was pretty.
In hail.
So they're working on getting it done.
I saw them drilling the holes in it on Monday to hang the lights. So
It's gonna be, I mean, once it gets done, that area was the darkest spot, and now it's gonna be incredibly well lit, because they're running it on the rails as well as the overhead.
Oh, wow.
So that was my concern with bikers, was they would be coming at this in the dark, and that rail would not be visible.
Oh, yeah, no.
That lighting will take care of that, so. Yeah. So from a safety perspective, much better, yeah. Good stuff.
Okay. So let's look at the date. It was brought up before that we have such short turnaround time. Not just this next month, it's April 2nd or April 9th, but even future guys, if you guys, we want to push, we could look at going the second week of the month. I'm just asking again because Sarah brought that up to me again, saying, if we're finding that we have such short turnaround time, maybe we'll try to go to the second week.
Is there a group that meets that day?
If there's a problem, the second Thursday of the month isn't. So anyhow, let's just first looking at next month. What do you guys think? Like, the idea of the second or the ninth?
We'll go 9th personally.
I'm good with either one, so I could go the 9th.
Good either way.
Well, I have Reynolds Budget Committee on the 2nd.
Oh, so you'd rather have it the 9th?
It's the first meeting short, I'd be here just a little late.
Okay.
So either way, 9th would be probably better for me.
Me too.
This is just next month.
I'm just saying, just next month, and then you.
Oh, no, I was just trying to figure out in my head my work schedule, but, I'm with Sirlin, I'm good.
Anybody with kids, do you know when spring break is?
Last week in March, 23rd through the, whatever it is, March.
Yeah, so we'd be clear either way.
Anybody that works in a school.
You say the 8th and 9th? Or the 9th?
9th.
Yeah.
Second or the 9th are their options. Those are the Thursdays, so.
And to tell you the truth, I don't have a strong opinion.
You changed your mind, now it isn't it? You
No, I don't have a strong opinion.
think 9th is.
It gives us more time to go through this.
Yes, and Victoria can join us then.
Yeah, Victoria can join us, so let's go for the 9th? Okay. 9th it is. Okay, and then before we do committee member comments, I'm going to follow up with stuff that we talked about last month. I'm not sure, I'll wait till the end, but now I'm going to ask, well, Mike's even here, I had asked him about we had asked about what was planned for the intersection of Buxton Road and Historic Columbia River Highway. So he told me, say, or just read what you told me.
So the plan basically calls for a signal at that location at some point in the future. So that's where they're going toward. My personal belief is that they would be better suited for a roundabout, but I'm told there's not enough space in that location to put a roundabout, so the signalization is the end all here at some point in time in the future, but not yet.
And then we wanted to know about the signage near Reynolds High School. And you said,
That's being addressed. Yeah, so there's some new signage that came up. There was some of our signs that said 25, I think, and it was a school zone. So it needed to go to 20. I think they're addressing that. There's another sign, I think, that said like 30 at another spot. So our guys are addressing those signs. You should see them out doing some sign modifications over the next few months as those signs come in off of order. So those should be addressed.
and then we had asked about any gang issues or safety concerns. We were specifically asking the Reynolds resource officer, and Mike got a response back from them. It's lengthy, and I just saw it today. I didn't print it off, so I'll just email it all to you. So you guys can hear and get the update on that.
And in general, they just deal with a lot of like the teenage petty stuff. And so that's, when you look through his report, that's 90% of what it is.
An update on that. Okay, and then the other thing is that the city council has asked for a representative from our group to come and talk what we're doing, our goals, objectives, what we're working on, et cetera. So if you guys, I'm just going to talk about what we've been doing out on this report and just other stuff that we've put on the back burner before, but hopefully we'll go back to, I guess, is our neighborhood watch stuff and the search stuff, et cetera. But I have to admit, we've kind of put those on the back burner while we've been trying to grapple with this one. So anyway, if there's anything you want to make sure that I include, just let me know.
I was actually thinking about this because we talked about it last night in CAC, and I feel we have an enormous amount of volunteers that participate in these city committees, and I wish, if this came up in conversation, I wish they would provide more guidance on things and ways that we can lend hands and be helpful. Because I look at like all these skill sets, and we sometimes, I just know, and my experience over the years, I feel like sometimes we're just here making up things to have a purpose. And I feel like our time is valuable and we have strong skill sets, and I would really like to have more of a purpose. And I'm hoping that they recognize that and can help us.
I think that's part of the intention. To actually add a rudder to a number of these ships that are rudderless at this point. So, I mean, we have so many committees and so many overhanging umbrellas, like the CAC, the TCAC, and the Planning Commission, all really kind of are in the same sphere, doing the same things, going in different directions, but what's the direction from the council? What do they need those committees to be working on? And so, a couple of counselors were asking me, like, well, and I was like, you know what? Let's ask them to come in, tell us what they're doing, tell us what their goals are, and then you, council, can then take that under advisement and consideration and then actually come up with some clear direction, goals, and purpose for these committees. So hopefully we'll turn a corner there and get some objectives, some clear, concise objectives for it.
This is Sherry. I kind of feel like we started doing that a year and a half ago or whatever. Maybe it's not quite that long ago. As we sat in a small group putting together a survey that we had talked about, and then we worked forever to get that thing so that we could put it out at such like a later time, it seemed like, to get some feedback. And we got some feedback, but I feel like then how much did we do with that feedback? Because we talked about it, and we knew, and part of it deals with like heat maps. People are concerned about gangs. People are concerned about homelessness. People are concerned. I mean, I just feel like, and then if we could see where some of these issues are, we could help address them, maybe. I'm not even sure we can, but so.
I could bring the list back in again of the stuff that was talked about, but you're right, it was a lot. There's not a lot you can do about homelessness, but we are trying to make trying to monitor and help make our areas safe, for residents. So we're trying to monitor what's happening.
But even if we could see that, and there's a way we could present stuff in the Champion, even, or on Facebook page or the website or something where stuff your safety committee has noticed, or, I don't know. Maybe we can't. Yeah, Frank can write the article. You can write the article.
I'll write that article.
I think that also there was a lot of comments about just wanting to see the neighborhoods and just feeling like, not saying that, Nick, you are doing a good job or whatever, but it's, you are just one guy and you're the only guy dedicated to us, so you can't do all of our streets, but we just miss that part that we had before. So we can't make we can provide feedback, which we did to the council before, how people were interested in getting our police back. That's still are, I think, the sentiment. But can we afford it? Can we figure it out? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out the fire thing right now. So, but I can. I mean, I think as we wind down on possibly not having to just spend our time on these reports, maybe we can relook at those, some of those other things that were on the list. But I know I did, after our last meeting, we talked about it, and I did look, and I just didn't print it out, because I said, I don't know, it's a lot of stuff we can't do a lot about, but you know, maybe we could write articles and we can bring awareness. You're right, maybe we could do something like that. So, at any rate, I guess the council might also be providing us more direction, but I think that we definitely are concerned with public safety. So however we see to help out in that area, that is a focus thing for sure. So we aren't as, maybe other groups, maybe it's too up in the air with theirs, but ours does have a definite focus. Parks does too, so. Anyhow, okay, so if you have anything you wanted me to comment on otherwise, just say anything or otherwise. And you're free, and if you want to come to the meeting, it's next Tuesday. Join.
I would say, since they're looking to make a decision that has a broader timeline of effect, is we want to kind of not just what are we working on now.
Right, oh, yes, right.
Broad breadth, and I think you will see.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the other things we've talked about, we've kind of tabled them aside while we've been dealing with this report thing, so. Okay, let me see if there was anything else I was going to tell you guys about. Oh, and then the other thing is that terms expiring. You, me, Victoria, and Twyla, so remember to apply if we'd like to be on this committee.
Expired till next year.
It said, I got a notice that you were expiring too, so they said, Sarah said, you, me, and Twyla were up for our term on this committee, So,
I have it pulled up on the website. It does say that.
so,
I know, you just,
It's 2026 already.
No, I'm sure I don't expire till 27.
she did just interview last year.
for this committee? Yeah, okay, so they might have this wrong on the sheet then, or she's got it, but she notified me, said those three, so I said, okay.
I'll check
Yeah,
in the office, because I'm sure it was 27.
Yeah. Okay. So anyhow, with that, let's go to committee member comments and there, so Twyla, go ahead.
Nothing to report. Actually, there was one thing. It isn't really in relation to safety, but I think a lot of to do with safety is also kind of how things look and appear, and I think that also impacts people's how they perceive feeling safe. I just, with the winter weather being over, encourage people to adopt a block. It's one of the movements where you can go online, you say this is my block, and then you take a walk and you clean that up. And it's an actual thing you can do. So I encourage you that, because there's some areas that are looking really shabby because of the wind and where all the trash has ended up. And I just, as people come in, as the spring looks nice, it'd be great if we could all adopt an area, pick up some trash, and
Awesome idea. Wonderful.
I have nothing to add. I'm good.
I'm good.
I wondered, have we heard anything back about who's coming from Reynolds to this meeting?
No, actually, that's probably one of the things I probably should have printed out. And Mike had said he'd contacted them and was trying to get somebody, so, yeah.
What are you guys, are you wanting like one of the SROs to come, or are you looking for someone from the administration to come? Because I talked to their principal over there, and then I talked to the SRO, but.
Well, I would just say from our standpoint, whoever was here before somehow was related to the transportation piece. And
Wade or something like that, was that his name?
Ellis?
Something Ellison or Ellis, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, just, the way they created this pattern now, they leave Reynolds, head southbound on 257, a bunch of buses, 7 of which turn in on 24th Street and then turn either on the first street or the next street up and turn and go all the way out the other end of the neighborhood. There's 0 drop-offs because nobody from the high school would be getting a bus ride that close to home. So it really just becomes this cut through. And, as nice as I am, I don't want that bus pollution coming through the neighborhood. And it also, I worry because there's kids that play out in the road. And it's so right after school, about 4:02 or 4:03, here comes this pattern of these buses. And I wrote down the numbers at home at one point. I was just like, for real? Why are they just, it was 4 and now it's gone up to 7.
And they didn't do this before 257th construction. I think you brought this up when the construction is, then they started using this cut through and they now have not abandoned it.
Yeah, and he had said before it was because it, creates a backup. They have, to me, it's like it's not really realistic for them to be doing that. I realize the district is a very long district, but I think that they should go up to Stark and go across Stark and find their way down instead of cutting through the neighborhood all the way over to.
So they're taking a right on 24th?
Yes.
So they're heading south on 257th to the first main street that goes through the neighborhood, 24th Street.
Yes.
And then
They turn at either Indian John, I think it is, or McGinnis. Most of the time at Indian John, because then they won't have to make 2 stops. And then they curve and they run 22nd all the way over to where it kind of curves up and you turn on 23rd.
okay.
The number plays 23rd, and then they head out of the neighborhood. And I say that's the way they're going. I haven't followed them all the way down. I just know that there's no drop off within the within that area.
So they're trying to go over to Hogan's?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. You got it perfectly.
26 feet.
That's the,
I live there, that's why.
Why wouldn't they use Cherry Park?
I think it's because their buses, that exit out. that
Flow
goes
in
straight
and the
onto
flow out.
257.
yes, that's
They
correct.
line up buses that way, they line up buses, and they also line them up by Nation Station.
Okay, and so they're exiting out of, so they're in that loop right there by the baseball field?
Yeah.
Yeah, that little side one that goes straight on the 257th, it doesn't go into.
Sit on the side.
Well, you don't know for sure, but you assume that's where they're coming
I
out.
can't imagine anyone would turn out and go up and do that. They would be in a different queue, that's what I think. But,
Sherry's actually correct. So there's, my wife works there, I'm there a lot, right? And there's 2 places for buses. One is behind the school,
Okay,
and the other one is in front of the school. And now the buses that are in front of the school, their direct exit is out onto 257th.
okay.
And it makes sense for them.
That's that little side road that's going by the, okay.
and if they come out that thing, there's no right, and there's no left turn there, they just go right.
And then so instead of going up to Stark and then going down there, cutting through the neighborhood?
Yes,
And you don't, yeah, it does seem pretty close. Are there walking paths that connect the neighborhood to the high school?
yes,
Okay, so the kids that are living in that neighborhood are definitely walking.
yes.
There's no like bus
It's,
drop off.
yeah, they wouldn't, they don't drop off within, there's a certain distance they don't drop off, and yeah, they just come through the back. It comes out just really close to McGinnis, there's a cut out of, a walkway that comes out.
Are they going to Walmart? Chance?
The buses are not.
The Walmart buses, they excuse way earlier.
Okay,
The high school's the last one to
All right.
excuse for Reynolds School District, and it happened to have been bumped a little bit later. It used to be 3:30, and now I think it's 3:45. So,
so does Reynolds use the same buses over and over for, like, they'll do the elementary route and then they'll do the middle school route, then they'll do the high
I'm
school
sure
routes?
that's what they did.
100 times.
All right,
And I think it's middle, elementary, high for them.
all right.
I think that we originally had someone on this committee, it's only been the one time, when I first joined the committee, there was nobody from Reynolds. And then they came for a few times, but we're just interested if they want to have any public safety issues that they're seeing at the school, something that we would need to be aware of, that are stuff, so that's the reason why they were on the committee, but I suspect that somebody, they just haven't, they either didn't find the value or they couldn't get somebody who wants to come here in the evening. I don't know. Okay, Sherry, do you have anything else?
No, I just, wanted to see if somehow that situation could get addressed. It just doesn't seem very good, so.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, my pleasure.
The report.
Happy to be here.
Victoria? Yeah,
That's how, sometimes here, and thanks for the report.
yes, excellent. Okay, well, thank you very much for coming. I appreciate having you here tonight.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we assigned Kimberly to be your admin liaison. So hopefully she can assist you all on whatever your needs might be, and then bring it back to me, and then relay it back. I sometimes have conflicts on Thursday nights with high school kids and sports and stuff. So, but right now, March, April, May, pretty much are my free months. So I'll try to be here for at least the next couple months. And then when I go back to my coaching job, then
That's all.
yeah. Yeah, chauffeuring kids and baseball.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I know. I remember.
Okay.
Exactly. We tap everybody. The whole takes a village.
Yeah.
Okay, well, again, any comments from anyone else online before we entertain a motion to adjourn? Entertain a motion to adjourn?
Victoria, I move that we adjourn.
Okay.
This is Twilight, second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, we are adjourned.